Yes. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Propa podcast. We are very glad to have you all on board. It's been a long time coming, but we thought now is the time to do it. And I am joined today by my lovely friends, John and Kaya. How are we doing, boys?
What's happening, Uncle? What's happening? What's happening?
Lovely to speak to you, chaps. Yes, so a little bit of context. We thought we'd jump on board like every other fucker and do a podcast, and here we are. But no, we do love the old podcast, don't we? We love a bit of the undefeated. We love a bit of the Fight Disciples. Coogan's got his blinding podcast out of there, so we thought we hopefully can cut through the mould, join them boys, and bring you a blinding podcast. And here we are. And this week we are talking about the big fight. Yes, it's the rematch. It's Joyce versus Zhang, or Zhang versus Joyce too. Now, Joyce last time out was not victorious. He was fucking smashed, if I'm being totally honest. He had a dodgy eye injury, and that was that. But the man has got balls, and he's back. He's back with a bang, isn't he? He didn't think about it too much. He was straight in there back with a rematch, and fair play to him for that. Reminiscent of Eubank and Smith. You know, Eubank took a heavy old blow in that first fight, but he's back with a bang, and look at him now. So Joyce will be looking to do the same thing. Now, let's get into it, boys. What are we saying? What I want to know is, I'm going to start with you, Kaya, right? What did you think was going to happen in the first fight, right? I want to know your train of thoughts surrounding it. You saw Joyce against Parker. He had a blinding performance there. Previous fights before that, his amateur career. You've seen some of Zhang in the past few years, and you saw him at the weigh-in. All right, I know this is a big old fucking question, but we'll get there. So what did you think going into that fight?
Mate, I thought the same as pretty much the whole of the nation thought. You watched. There was a little bit of apprehension there because you watched Zhang perform the way he did against Hrgovic, and no one really give him a sniff against Hrgovic before the fight, and he arguably won that fight. Some say Hrgovic won, but it was a toss of a coin, really. So, based on that, there was a little niggling doubt in the back of my head going into the fight. But watching what Joe did to Joe Parker, and Joe went from being, just a big lummox that everyone didn't really take that seriously to, after beating Joe Parker, being the only man that can really beat Tyson Fury. Do you know what I'm saying? He went from that to this. And then we're going into the Zhang fight. And, honestly, I don't think you'd find a person in the UK that really thought that he would lose that fight in the way that he did. You know what I mean? I think we thought the fight would go long. But the way he must have prepared for that fight was wrong. I think he obviously overlooked him. And it just went terribly wrong for him. He couldn't get out. He couldn't get his feet right. I mean, do you want me to go into the details of the fight now, or what do you want me to do?
Far away.
Yeah, I mean, look,
his
feet was terrible that night. You know, I mean, he was literally just at the end of Zhang's right hand every single time. If you compare it to what he did against Dubois, he took some heavy shots against Dubois. Now, we're all saying that Zhang hits harder than Dubois. I don't think he does. I think Dubois is just as heavy a hitter, but for some reason, Joyce could, withstand the pressure of Daniel Dubois in the first 3 or 4 rounds. If you go back and watch that fight, I think his lateral movement was a lot better. His feet was great. He was riding some of the shots. He was able to take a percentage off the shots. Even if he took 10% off a Dubois power shot, with the cranium that man's got, that juggernaut cranium, it's difficult to stop a man like that. But with the Zhang fight, it was almost like he was helping Zhang land those power shots, like he was walking into them. It was, I've never seen the like of it. Honestly, after round 3 or 4, I was going, so many moments. I was going, fucking move, Joe, move your fucking head.
I know,
it was horrendous. Man. It was fucking horrendous. Yeah. And you know what? I'm glad they pulled him out, and I'm glad his eye went, because that would have just continued on for 12 rounds, and we might not have seen the rematch now, because it would have been a conclusive knockout, I believe. But Joe's back, ladies and gentlemen. Joe is back, and honestly, I'm going to stop short and giving you my prediction now. I want to hear from John, obviously, first. But no one thought that was going to happen. Do we all agree? Yeah, no one thought.
I'm with you. Look, I think most people, if they're honest, they bought into the whole Terminator skull, the big thick cranium, like 10 times bigger than a normal man. I think we all bought into it. Like Joyce was like top 5 going into that fight against Zhang. Everyone was saying he's a top 5 heavyweight, but he'd only fought one southpaw before the fight with Zhang, is it Leroy Thomas? I've got the name right. But it looked like he'd never even seen Leroy Thomas. Yeah. It looked like he'd never even seen someone fight southpaw, let alone fought someone who was a southpaw. And he just couldn't get out of the way. The southpaw stance, the jab, the straight down the middle, even the hook over the top from Zhang. It was just that was a perfect example of timing and accuracy. Zhang's feet are not fast, but his hands are fast. And Joyce he went from looking like a top 5 heavyweight to what, top 20? Just couldn't get out of the way. It was almost like embarrassing. And the eye went the size of a melon. And they had to pull him out because it was dangerous, especially taking the blows that he was taking. But what can he take from it? What can Joyce take from it? What he can take from it is he didn't get knocked out. So even with, like, as you said, Kyle, he couldn't miss. So even with free reign, all those blows landing on his head, still didn't knock him out. Didn't even look like he was going to get knocked out. So the question is this. I see an interview from Zhang. Zhang says he's going to target that same eye. So, I mean, what's Joyce done in training? Surely he's moving his head more. He's obviously with Ismail Salas, and he's all, about the movement and all that. But you wouldn't have thought he was training with him in the last camp. So what does he have to do? Does he just need to move his head more, bring Zhang into deep waters late? We know that Zhang gasses. He gassed against Hrgovic late, even though he won that fight. I had a bet on that fight. I was gutted I lost that. Against Jerry Forrest, knocked him down 3 times in the first 3 rounds. Jerry Forrest got back in the fight.
He was ill, John. He was ill.
Who was ill?
Zhang's come out. He had a kidney infection or a liver infection.
If my arm would have been a man, it would have been bloody.
Don't shoot the messenger, son. Don't shoot the messenger.
Like,
it's always fucking out there on the media, isn't it?
Liam Smith put on all the weight and blah blah blah. It don't matter. On the day, you either perform or you don't perform. Is that right?
True.
Yeah, you can only beat who's in front of you. And I thought, do you know what? When he got to the weigh-in, I looked at him and I thought, oh, do you know what? He's a lot lighter, but I thought that's a good move, I thought that is spot on. Because he's got he knew he had to take Zhang into them late rounds. Because Zhang, after round 6, round 7, it's like everyone knows it. He looks fucked, right? He's always just smashed, isn't he? And you saw him in the Hrgovic fight, you saw him in the Jerry Forrest fight. He's just battered, mate. He's just crawling over the ring he's a bad way, isn't he, all the time? So I thought, no, that's a good move, because he'll be fit. He'll be a little bit, I know speed's not his thing, but I thought, oh, you know what? He'll be a little bit quicker. He'll be able to move around Zhang and just tire him out more than normal. And then when he got in the ring, it was like Zhang could just do what he wanted, man. He was just Zhang was able to bully him. Joe didn't. I thought that weight wouldn't affect his punch power, but it even looked like the weight to me sort of affected his punch power because he couldn't make any sort of dent on him. The punches that he was throwing, Zhang's head weren't really moving, was it? Do you know what I mean? The ones that he did land, it weren't really affecting him. And instead of that speedy sort of movement around Zhang, taking him into the later rounds, he did just stand in front of him. And I was thinking, this ain't good. And I was there. I was watching it when I was there with my missus, and she was going, is he meant to keep getting it in the face like that? You know what I mean? And I couldn't believe what I was watching. And that punch in the second round, I was like, second round where Joe buckled, and we've never seen Joe buckle like that. And when that punch come through, I thought, well, this is going one way, isn't it? And then I was quite far back because I'm a cheapskate and I got the old cheap tickets, didn't I? But the geezer behind me was going, oh, there's a problem with Joe's eye. And that was it. The writing was on the wall then. So I thought the weight was a good thing originally. And in hindsight, it weren't, was it?
No, it's not. He's got to come in a bit heavier, punch resistance, just level change. If you're going to come forward in straight lines, just dip your knees a little bit so the punch don't land in the same fucking place, right on his eyeball. The same shot in the same place 28 times. Eventually, your eye's going to go. Just dip your knees. Move your head a little bit. You don't even if you, as I said earlier, ride the shot a little bit. He's always going to. Joe's never going to be Tyson Fury. He's never going to be the slippery type of fighter that can, make you miss, make you pay. That's not Joe's game. He's got that ridiculous cranium. And after what happened in a Christian Hammer fight, I think he just believed it a little bit too much. And Hammer was pinging them overhands right. So Takam fight, a good shot there. So he's gone in there going, what's this 40-year-old going to do to me, really? You know, I'm
Well,
going to take him
that
past
was
round 7 and that's it. He's fucked. But little does he know, like, you got to fucking move your head.
But this is the thing now, because like you're saying that about go to the body. That's what Tyson Fury says. You know, when he put out one of those stupid videos that he does about, you know, come to me for sparring. You got to go to the body and chop Zhang down. That's the way to beat him. But the thing is, like, it's like Joe Joyce known for going to the body. So if he's going to start changing things up at age 38, when you start going to the body, what happens? You leave yourself wide open in the head. Like, could he be even any more wider open? Now, if he starts going to the body, he's going to be wide open. I know this. I don't know. And sorry, going back to the weight. So when he fought Joe Parker, he was 270 pounds, right? So I think that's like roughly 19 stone. Joe Parker looked like a boy, didn't he? He looked like an 8-year-old in there standing next to Joe Joyce. Everything he hit Joe Joyce with bounced off him. Joe Joyce just walked him down. Amazing finish. When he fought Zhang, say 250 pounds, I think it was 255 pounds, he looked cut. He looked slim up top and cut. And then like walking in, I thought the same as you, Proper. Like even in Joe Joyce's interview I heard lately, he said the weight was a massive problem and he felt that in the clinch, he couldn't bully Zhang and he couldn't push him back. So let's see when they come to weigh in, Joe Joyce, he needs to be back up at that weight, 270 pounds, because let's be real, his best performance is against Joe Parker, and that was about 270 pounds. Like, I like my heavyweights big, bit of flesh on them, all cut and that, like Bruno and Anthony Joshua. Nah, not for me.
No, fair enough.
John, start with you. Did he take him for granted?
Yeah, he must have. I think he might have got drunk on his own success as well. All the stuff that we spoke about, the Terminator, taking all the punches from Takam and Parker. I think he just would have thought he would have just gone in and steamrolled him. And like, let's be real, who would Zhang fought? He fought Hrgovic. Hrgovic ain't looked great lately. Jerry Forrest, we know he won a silver in the Olympics, but I don't know. This is the thing in it with heavyweight boxing. Like anything could happen. It really can. But yeah, he must have been taking him lightly because there was no head movement. Like, surely if you're fighting a southpaw that, you know, has got fast hands, that's won a silver in the Olympics, you should have been moving your head work. So Joyce has dropped the ball, but so's his trainer, Ismail Salas. He's dropped the ball as well there. So I think he did. Would you reckon, Quiet?
Yeah, mate, I can't disagree with any of that. You know, it's like Joe seems like quite a headstrong type of character. I feel like if there's something you don't want to do, he's not going to do it, regardless of what Ismail Salas says. So I don't know if we can lay all the blame at Ismail Salas's door. You know, at the end of the day, he's a trainer. He's gonna take his 10 or 15 off the top. So he's gonna do the camp with him and you know, guide him as best. But when you're in the ring, mate, you're on your own. You're on your own. If you're getting pinged left, right, and centre for the first 4 rounds, you got to think, you know, yourself just to start moving your head. You can't rely on the coach for instruction. You know, you've been a boxer a very long time, been in the amateur circuit. You know, you're top amateur. You should know better. But I think the bottom line is, I feel like maybe Joe gassed a little bit as well in that fight, and that's you know, I think so. Yeah, I think he was just.
I don't agree with that at all.
No, I think he did. I think, look, I don't know if he did the camp properly. I don't know. Only Joe will know the answer to that. I guarantee you now, when you see Joe this time round, it'll be a different Joe. And I think, as I said when I originally started speaking, go back and watch the first 4 rounds of the Dubois fight. I picked Dubois to win that fight. I know, John, you picked Joe Joyce. And honestly, his lateral movement, even though he was getting caught, so much better. You know, he was exerting more energy, but his lateral movement was so much better in that fight. And I've seen him move his head before. You know, he's not, as I say, he's not the most fleet-footed fighter. You wouldn't like, if he was in a club, you can't imagine Joe started like moonwalking and busting out some fucking proper moves, can you, with Joe Joyce? But then you turn around, he's doing capoeira and fucking flicks in the middle of the ring. So I can't figure him out. 1 minute he's like all cumbersome. Next minute he's a ballerina. I don't know. I can't figure the kid out.
No, that fucking backflip's unbelievable, isn't it? What do you think then, right? Because you said there that you think he was gassing, right? I've got to be honest, I totally disagree with that, right? Because my brain's gone blank, right? Was it round 6 or round 5? It was round 6,
6.
Right, so round 6, right? He knew the fight was going to be stopped, right? He certainly got the inkling when the doctor looked at it. So I thought he come on really strong then. I know, right, he got whacked a couple more times, funny enough, but he had a burst of energy in him, right? And I thought, looking at him, I thought you could carry that energy on. I thought he could have taken that energy on into the 7th, into the 8th, into the 9th, and Zhang was definitely gassing. I really did.
I disagree, Unc.
Right, when he gets told that he's gonna, he's in a bit of trouble here by the doctor, he honestly comes on like it's something awakens him, and that energy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, I think he could have carried that on. I really do. And he's still didn't, like you can't lie. He's always been good in them later rounds, hasn't he? I know he took a lot of punishment in that fight, but he's always been good in that later rounds. And I stand by it. I get a bit of stick for this, but I stand by it. That had the injury not been there, I know your auntie had balls, you be your uncle or whatever. Had that injury not been there, if there had been a millimeter either way, I do think it would have been a very close fight. I do. I know Joe would have got clocked. I just think it would have been a close fight. I just do. We saw it. He took a lot of punishment against Parker. He took a lot of punishment against every other fucking fighter he's fought. And it's just, at the end of the day, he's got through it. And he did not go down. Zhang put in every single ounce of power in every punch he had. And he got hit. Joe got hit with 70, I think it was 70 punches to the face, sorry, for anyone not from London. And I just think that just tells me that he can mostly take what Zhang's got, right? I just really do. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, look, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing exactly what you're saying, but I think that on that 6th round, I feel like it was so easy for Zhang, like Kai said. I felt like Joyce couldn't really get set. He couldn't get his feet planted in the right place. He just kept getting thrown off the line where he was just getting peppered by the jab and the backhand. Even the hook over the top was troubling him. And I know Zhang gasses. I don't think he was gassing that much in the 6th round. But like Joyce, he's a freak of nature. Like the tank that he's got to even just maraud on the way he does and just keep throwing punches. He's going to break most fighters down. But like throwing those punches the way he does as he moves forward, he can't do that against Zhang because Zhang is a slippery southpaw. So I don't know what the answer is going forward. Like my brain is telling me it has to be the same outcome. It has to be the same outcome because this southpaw is too slippery. He's got too many tools in the box. He's got too many ways he can hit you with a punch, as I just said. And you've got to remember, Zhang can make adjustments too. You think they're not going to be sitting there in Zhang's camp thinking, well, look, Joyce is going to come with a bit of a different energy. He's going to move his head more. So maybe they're going to be wise to that, make a few adjustments, maybe reserve a bit of energy. And maybe it does target the eye again. So, yeah, I don't know. Before I give you my prediction, I'll throw it over. Go on, quiet. You sound to do the predictions now?
Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. Actually, just before we do, I want to ask one big question, right? Zhang versus Joshua. Who do you think wins that, Kaya? Just out of interest.
Do you know what? Anyone who's watched our channel over the years will know how much I've stuck up for that man, but I'm losing patience even myself with it. The Hellenian's performance, like everyone looks at the knockout and go, yeah, it's great. Show real knockout, but before then, it was so fucking boring. It was so one-paced, and he brings that to Zhang. Zhang's got the power to turn his lights out, and I wouldn't like to call that fight now. I'll still go with Joshua because I think he's a superior boxer, but yeah, that fight's a lot closer than I would have said 12 months ago. I think Joshua just nicks it though on points.
Also, I've noticed that Zhang flew into London or whatever 4 days ago. So, like, Steward's inquiry on the old VADA testing in China, like, I don't know what's going on over there with the testing. Do you know what I mean? True, though, isn't it? Everyone's popping lately. So, if you're like, your whole camp's over there in China, just throwing it out there.
Fair, it has been widely documented, though. This one has got VADA testing.
Right.
Eddie knew that. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah.
If you don't get the fucking results till after the fight, what's the fucking point?
No,
isn't that the case?
Nevada.
With VADA, they'll let you know ASAP, basically, once they've tested.
We'll cut that fucking bit out then, eh?
We'll leave it in so you look like a melt. Anyway, right.
But yeah, look. If we're getting on to what I think is going to happen with the fight, I don't think Joe needs to do a massive amount to win the fight in terms of changes. He just needs to go back to the Dubois fight when he knows there's a massive amount of jeopardy in it. He knows he can get ironed out and just move your head, sit on your chest. You know, he's going to be coming at 270-ish, right? 265, 270. like he did against Joe Parker. Anything less, he's stupid. So if he comes in around about that weight, I know Zhang's got a really nice short game as well. He's got that right hook over the top of the jab, and he's got power shots on the inside. But if he can lean on him, like you said, John, earlier on, lean on him and just take a bit of energy out of Zhang. Because Zhang, I agree with John what he said earlier, didn't look that gassed for a man that had been throwing power shots for 6 rounds. Because he didn't really need to...
40-year-old man and all.
Yeah, but he didn't really need to move his feet that much to even land those shots. So if Joe can just get on him, if hopefully we get a decent ref that allows him to tie him up a bit, just zap a bit of energy out of him. You're going to take some shots coming in and that, but as long as you can ride a few here and there, Joe's got the punch durability to last, and just take him into deep waters. And I think Joe could potentially stop him late or win on points. I can't see. I think Joe overturns this result. It's too much on the line, fellas. This gets you to the promised land for both of these fighters. Gets you multi-million-pound fight after this, because you know what's going to happen. Usyk's going to fight Hrgovic after he deals with the bar. Joshua is potentially going to fight Wilder, if not some fucking other donut. And who else? Tyson Fury's fucking around with Ngannou. So this fight takes one of these fighters to the stratosphere. Joe Joyce or Zhilei Zhang could potentially be worth millions. So I can't see Joe. I can't see Joe fucking this one.
But that's the same for Zhang, though. That what you just said there means exactly the same for Zhang as it does for Joyce. As you say, just quickly picking up on that. What's Joyce's game is he keeps marauding forward and stressing out his opponent, putting them under pressure and making them throw. But the difference is, when he's every inch he's taking forward, he can't plant his feet to do anything because he just keeps getting peppered because he's just got too many. Yeah,
level change, John. Level change. Dip your knees more as you're coming forward.
More open.
You've got to do fucking something. You can't come with the same game plan.
John, what are you saying?
All right, I'll tell you what I'm saying. I'm saying that I think that he's going to have more head movement. I think he's going to go long. I think he's going to go to points. And I think he's going to be really, really, really close on points. If there's no dodgy decisions because it's at home for Joyce, I think Zhang just nicks it. Don't want that to happen. I'd love Joyce to win. I'm just telling you how it is, bruv.
What Jesus Christ. Bollocks. What do you reckon?
I reckon, right? I think we're going to see a different Joe. I think he'll definitely have more head movement. I think that's a given. My worry is him being a bit tentative now. Not the same way Joshua's tentative because he knows he can take a punch. However, I worry about him being not on Zhang all night. Do you know what I mean? I worry that he'll be sort of moving back a lot, moving around a lot. And
if he does that,
I worry that he won't be sort of putting it on Zhang like we normally see him do, like he did with Parker, like he does with everyone. He's normally got people on the back foot, and I worry that this time he won't. I'm hoping he'll be relatively tentative for the first 5-6 rounds, and then I want him to be juggernaut. I want him to absolutely fucking plow into him once Zhang is tiring in them later rounds. This is what I want to see. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this is what I'm hoping. So sort of a tentative Joe whilst Zhang has still got his wits about him and he's got his energy. But in them later rounds, I'm hoping he can get there. And then once he does, I want him to absolutely fucking plow into Zhang and push him back, bully him, tie him up. The more you tie him up, man, the more tired he's going to get. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm hoping.
He's a lump, though, Zhang. Zhang's a lump, though.
He's a lump, but
he's fucking 98 years old as well.
It's the only person who's got a bigger head than Joe Joyce. You've seen the size of his fucking melon head. Huge.
Massive.
But this is the thing. You know that Joe's going to come in bigger. He's just going to come in bigger. That's a given, isn't it? Right. So yeah, I don't think Zhang's going to be any stronger than him. I think they're probably on par, sort of in their strength. But when Joe's definitely got a better engine, as we know, and I think in them later rounds, if he's tying him up, if he's trying to bully him a bit more, he's going to get hit. But I think he can take them punches. I really do. Like most of them, I think he can take. All right. There may be an anomaly that, every boxer's got that, smack bang on the chin might clean everyone out. However, most of the time, as we've seen, Joe has been able to take these punches. So I think in them later rounds, if he's bullying him, pushing him back, tying him up, wearing him out, I think Joe can get a very possible stoppage late, sort of very late, 10, 11, 12. However, I'm kind of expecting a points win from Joe. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's exactly what I said. I think he'll lose some of the earlier rounds, but as long as he can break the distance, get inside, tie him up, land some shots here and there. Joe's not, I guess he's not the fastest in terms of his hand speed, but if he could just wear him down, all this is ifs and buts. You know what I mean? Maybe it's in more in hope than anything else. I really want Joe Joyce to stick around. If he loses this, then where does he fucking go from here? Really?
Yeah, I'm the same.
So I'm really I'm hoping he does it. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe.
I know we're not biased on this program at all. Just by the way, people listening, so there's no bias here. But fucking hell, come on, Joe.
Come on, fucking Joe. Let's have it.
Come on, Zhang. Come on, Zhang.
Boo. No, Zhang is a very credible opponent. He was phenomenal last time round, Zhang. But he just had an easy target in front of him at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? So it's got to be different this time. It's just got to be.
But so what? So look, if Joyce wins, obviously it's the interim WBO interim titles. If he wins, obviously it's the Usyk fight, as Kai said. But if he loses, he's obviously going to stick him in with Dubois, isn't he? The trilogy. It makes sense, isn't it? Dubois just lost to Usyk.
Yeah.
That's what they'll do. They'll do that as a trilogy. But I want Joe Joyce to win, obviously. Do you know what I mean? He's a Brit. I'll be jumping around cheering for him. But because also, if he wins, does he get that status back? Top 5, the Terminator, skull 10 times the size as a normal man. Does he get all of that back now and just put that
Depends on how he wins. Depends on how he wins.
Yeah.
Knocks him the hell out. Knocks Zhang the hell out.
Does what he does to Joe Parker, then yeah.
I think even if he does win, I wouldn't be surprised to see him against Dubois again, really. If Joe wins, there's either going to be a trilogy, right? I don't know how much Joe's team will want to take that risk again. Do you know what I mean? But if it is a devastating fight, then there may be good money in it. However, if Joe wins, I don't think his team will want to do that again. So I kind of see that Dubois fight is probably going to be.
But why would he fight Dubois, Unc?
Yeah, but who else is there, right? If Joshua's probably tied up with Wilder, right? I know it's a shit show at the minute, right? But if he's probably tied up with Wilder, you got Fury fighting Ngannou and Kevin Spacey and fucking Mrs. Brown's boys and all that, right? He's fucked off somewhere else, right? So, and then on top of that, you got Usyk is either going to fight Hrgovic, right? Because he's a mandatory, he has to, or I don't know if you've seen it in the news lately. It's bubbling up that there's Fury Usyk fight is possibly on for the end of the Riyadh season, right? So there has been some rumblings of that. All right, even though I've just said Fury's going to go off and do whatever, he could be bluffing Fury. I've got a video. I'll plug this. I've got a little video dropping in a couple of days about Fury could be bluffing in all this situation. But yeah, basically Fury could be set up with Usyk if Usyk is not set up with Hrgovic, and it unfortunately leaves Joe out in the cold, doesn't it? Who is there? Dubois?
Sit about, Unc. John, sit about. I'd sit about if I'm him. He's 38. He's going to get one massive payday, fight some donut. Yeah, everyone else does it. Tyson Fury does it and gets away with it.
How long is he sitting out for, though? He's going to be sitting out until next September.
Until the WBO called a mandatory. And then when he called a mandatory, you get your shot. You go and walk away with your 5 million. If you lose, you lose. You get your 5 million and sail off into the sunset. Why fight Dubois? What's Dubois got to offer him after he gets done by Usyk?
Dubois don't deserve nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
He deserve the Usyk fight.
I totally agree, but who is there?
I'll tell you what I'm thinking. Fury, right, is going to fight Ngannou. We'll talk about that in a minute. A fucking ridiculous fight anyway. There's going to be casuals out there going, oh, he might land one. No, he fucking won't, right? So Fury... I've read as well the other day that apparently Anthony Joshua has been elevated to second in the WBC rankings. You know what Maurizio, the little fucking weasel's trying to do there, didn't you? You already know what he's trying to do. He's dropped Andy Ruiz out for no reason, and he's put Joshua up for no reason. Deontay Wilder's still pissing around up there. No one knows what's going to happen with him. I don't even know if I want to see the Fury Wilder full fight anyway. He's trying to maneuver it so he calls the mandatory for Fury to fight Joshua. That's what he's trying to do. If that doesn't happen, then Fury needs to fight someone. If it's a voluntary, I can see Fury and Joyce fighting as a voluntary. If that's allowed. If Maurizio don't fucking do
when are you saying that happens? What, after Ngannou to avoid Usyk?
Ngannou to avoid Usyk. Yeah. And after Joyce beats Zhang, I can see Maurizio. Yeah. Look, he knows Maurizio. Yeah. He might put the call in and go, Maurizio, fucking stole off on the fucking mandatory, please. I want to fight Joyce. I can beat Joyce easily. Joyce gets his payday. Fury keeps his belt. Then we do Fury Joshua. I think that's what might happen.
And you know what, son? Do you know what? Because I was thinking about that as well. And did you see the Turkey Ali Sheikh, right? His Excellency. So he came out with a statement. He says, the only promoter I'm talking to is Frank Warren. When I heard that, I was like, wow, Eddie Hearn, like he's just putting on no shows lately, no real shows of note as well. I was looking at Eddie Hearn's calendar now, from now until Christmas. I'm like, what, oh, how he has fallen. He's sitting there in his little office doing interviews with Parson and Umar, talking about other people's shows. And even got any of his own shows on. Unbelievable fall from grace, in my opinion. We're talking about that later. But yeah, I was thinking the fact that if Joyce beats Zhang, then yeah, Usyk fights Ngannou. Then, in my opinion, Fury don't want an Usyk fight. People can say that he does, whatever. I don't think he wants it. Slippery southpaw, who's going to be faster than him, who's going to be quicker than him. Even though Fury, I believe he will be the favourite in that fight, right? But it's going to be a hard fight. You ain't going to be able to pin Usyk down. If Usyk got into that fight with Fury and said, I just don't want to get hit for 12 rounds, I'm going to move around, Fury don't hit him, in my opinion. He's that good. However, if he takes risks to get in and hit Fury, it's a different story. But I think he's going to avoid Usyk, and I think exactly what you said, Kaya. The old Sheikh's going to put a load of money on, and Joyce will fight Fury in Saudi Arabia, and they'll put the money down. But if that doesn't happen, and Fury is about legacy, which I don't think he is, and he has this stupid fight with Ngannou, if he does go and fight Usyk, after Usyk maybe has to fight Hrgovic and is for the undisputed, Joyce as an option, and this ain't a bad option, maybe fight Zhang as a rematch in China. Because maybe with a Chinese pay-per-view model, they can put enough money down, for, not a rematch, for a trilogy, where, do you know what? I'll go and fight Zhang in a trilogy in China, and I'm going to get X amount of mil. And do you know what? I'd rather have that safety than to hang around waiting for Fury. Fury don't even know what he's going to have for breakfast in the morning. How can you rely on Fury for September? And if there's enough money in the Zhang trilogy, that's the best option for me.
Righto then. So, final predictions for Saturday night. Kaya, fire away.
Right. So for me, it's what I said earlier. I think Joe has got the eye of the tiger. He is back. He understands the importance of this fight. He knows there's no way in the world he can let this man beat him twice. And for that reason, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Joyce will get him late or win. I can see a sort of 8-4, 7-5 type of fight. But Joe Joyce to bring home the bacon. Come on, Joe.
Jono, fire away.
Yeah, my prediction is he's going to move his head more. It's going to go late. I think that Zhang will hit him with too many punches. He's got too much variation, too many ways he can hit Joe Joyce. And I think Joe Joyce is going to be too tentative, as you said as well earlier, Uncle, where he can't stand in front of him, put the pressure on because he's going to get hit too many times. I just think it's going to go late, but I think it's going to be really, really close. I think Joe Joyce will have his moments, and there will be periods where Zhang gasses. But you know what? It won't be the first time we've seen him gas. And he gasses, but he comes through it. Remember George Groves? George Groves used to look like he was blown out of his ass all the time. But sometimes fighters look like that, but he seems to always get over the line, Zhang. So I just think really, really late. Could be like really, really close, round either way. But if I had to choose, gun at my head, I would say Zhang on points.
We've got a bit of a split decision here, but I am going to go with Kaya. I'm going to go a late Joe Joyce points win. I'm going to go either possibly stoppage round 10, 11, 12, but more than likely points for Joe. So that is me. And yes, it's been a pleasure, chaps. I hope everyone listening has enjoyed it as well. Love to have you all here. Thank you so much for watching the vids and listening to this podcast. We shall bring you as many more of these as we possibly can. But it's been an absolute pleasure. So, Kaya, sign us out, bruv.
Honestly, mate, absolute pleasure. It's been a while since me and John have done one of these. So thanks for having us on, Unc. Really, really appreciate it. And, you know, as usual, me and John disagree. There's no fucking surprise there on the results. So, but thanks for having us on. Hopefully we can do it again soon, mate.
Lovely. Jono?
As good people in Top Boy say less, bruvs. Say less.
Say nothing, cuz. Say nothing, fan. Yeah. All right, chaps. Thanks so much. Love all you legends out there. Peace out for now. Good luck, Joe Joyce. Good luck. Seal it bang. Au revoir.
Seal it bang.